To understand the survival of the modern Russian presidency, the search begins far away from the intelligence agencies. The trail leads back to the kitchens of the 20th century's most dangerous dictators. Vladimir Putin's family history is a highly curated narrative. It is a story where the most important details are often those hidden in the shadows. At the center of this history is Spiridon Putin. He was a peasant who rose from rural poverty to become a personal chef for the men who ruled the Russian Empire and Soviet Union. Spiridon often remarked that his profession left no trace in history. He believed a chef's work was ephemeral, prepared, served, and immediately consumed. But he managed to survive the collapse of the Romanovs, a violent civil war, and the peak of the Stalinist purges. He worked in the same rooms where political careers and lives were being systematically ended. Surviving the deadliest eras of Russian autocracy required more than just skill. It required the mastery of absolute invisibility. In the mid-1890s, St. Petersburg was known as the Paris of the East, a city defined by luxury and rigid social hierarchies. Spiridon arrived here as a teenager to study the culinary arts. Through a network of peasant cooperatives, he secured an apprenticeship and rose quickly, eventually joining the staff at the Hotel Astoria. The Astoria was the pinnacle of imperial prestige. As a chef there, Spiridon served the upper echelons of the Romanov court. According to family accounts, he once prepared a meal for Grigory Rasputin. The mystic was reportedly so impressed that he summoned the chef, noting the similarity between their names. Rasputin tipped him a 10-ruble gold coin. It became a family heirloom, a symbol of Spiridon's ability to please the empire's most volatile figures. This era established Spiridon's professional conduct. He maintained a temperamental neutrality, providing a service to elite without becoming a part of their political world. The October Revolution of 1917 dismantled that world. The Hotel Astoria was requisitioned, and the imperial order Spiridon had navigated for 20 years was gone. The currency he had saved became worthless. Faced with the economy's collapse and the threat of famine, he chose to retreat. He took his family back to his ancestral village, returning to subsistence farming to survive the Civil War. This period marked a shift in the family's trajectory. After losing his savings to the revolution, Spiridon's subsequent career moves were no longer toward private wealth, but toward the inner circles of the new state. By the early 1920s, he was recruited to work at the Gorky Dacha, serving as the personal chef to Vladimir Lenin. The Bolsheviks needed staff familiar with elite standards, yet their ideology required workers with clean peasant origins. Spiridon met both requirements. He later served Lenin's widow, Nadezhda Krupskaya. This work placed him inside a household that was under the constant oversight of the secret police. Eventually, his duties included cooking for Joseph Stalin. He prepared meals for a leader known for his extreme paranoia and his fear of being poisoned. Spiridon maintained a strict code of conduct. During periods of national famine, he was known for never taking a single gram of food home. He was a man of remarkable self-control, addressing even his own children with the formal Russian va, to maintain a disciplined professional distance. He survived the purges that claimed so many around the leadership by remaining the invisible professional, meeting the standards of an autocrat without showing any personal ambition. While Spiridon's role in the Kremlin kitchens provided him with a measure of safety, the state's demands on his family during World War II were absolute. 2 of his sons were killed in action. A third, the current president's father, was severely wounded while serving in an NKVD sabotage unit behind German lines. In the siege of Leningrad, the family suffered alongside millions of others. Spiridon's young grandson, Victor, died of starvation and diphtheria. It is the paradox of the Soviet era. Proximity to power offered a degree of protection for the individual, but it did not exempt the family from the catastrophic toll of the state's wars. Spyridon retired in the 1960s and died in Moscow in 1965 at the age of 86. His grandson, Vladimir, was 13 years old when Spyridon died, an age where he was absorbing the stories of his family's survival. Spyridon spent his life believing that a chef's work leaves no trace in the history books, but his career established a clear path. The discretion Spyridon used in the kitchens of the leaders reappeared in his son's service to the NKVD, and finally in his grandson's career in the KGB. Spyridon Putin was the first in a multi-generational lineage of service to the state. The code he lived by, prioritizing the state and maintaining absolute silence, remains a defining feature of the family that now occupies the Kremlin.